Down the outside of the golf cart, that's Mackenzie. 2 wheels out on the grass. What an overtake. If he can make this stick, he might go right around and lead this little bunch.
Hello and welcome to the third race of round 3. You're about to witness an absolutely horrific start, which seems to be a common trait of my racing of late, which is really not good. I really need to work on that. As you can see, Brian as well as Ed get a stellar start. I really should have just slipped in behind Brian instead of half-heartedly trying to fight him, as that really compromised my exit of turn 2, and the boys got a bit of a gap straight away, which wasn't cool. I'm in second last place. If we look at behind, we'll see Norbert. It's his first race weekend, so he's just getting a feel for his car, a bit like I was last round. And here we are with a lot of work to do. I really need to try and do the next corners as good as possible so that I can be in the boys' draft for the straight. Unfortunately though, I really don't do Siberia well just then, and I also don't do T-junction very well. So the boys who are all in the draft managed to draft away from me a little bit, which wasn't an ideal thing. If you check out my shift lights, you'll also see that I lift quite a bit and quite early for the sweeper. I'm not keeping the foot planted. Just don't have that trust in the cold tyres yet. And I also do the chicane coming up quite poorly as well. So really need to work on the start of my races, getting my tyres warmed up good in the warm-up lap, so that I can just start racing with full pace right from the start. Have a check behind, no Norbert, so all I've got to do is concentrate on getting up to Jeff, Ed and Brian. Don't do a too bad exit at turn 1 nor turn 2, so I've caught up quite a little bit, bit of an oxymoron then. I caught up a little bit, and heading down into this corner I was hoping to push so that I could be in that draft for that big straight. Unfortunately for me, and I guess for him, Jeff has a spin in this corner quite late. I'm not sure how he spun so late, but he did, which caused me to be very hesitant on my throttle. I really didn't want to commit until I knew he was braking, so that I wasn't going to collide with him. Anyway, trying to work on getting through Siberia well, and then T-junction. I do it average, I guess. Still need to do it a lot better. I'm not in that draft, and it's going to take a bit to catch up. So while I'm catching up, I'll just do a bit of fast forwarding. While I'm fast forwarding, the fast forwarding lap was a 32.4 and the second one was a 31.7. Here we are, caught back up again. I do not a bad exit there and not too bad at T-junction. And at the moment, I'm just thinking about where I'm going to make my move on Brian. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get close enough so that I can set up a move going into Gumtree. So the whole plan was to get as close as I could, hopefully draft him down the straight and force him to not take a racing line through turn 1 and compromise his exit for turn 2. So that then I'm able to pull alongside him with going into Gumtree and get the move done, mostly going into the corner. So pretty good exit here at the chicane, and managed to be in his draft and get down beside him and compromise his racing line as planned. This time I make sure that I slip in behind him and I'm right on his tail so that I can get his slipstream going up this hill. He's quite slow going up the hills, so I tried to take that into my advantage and managed to get it done. Now once I'm past, I just want to make sure I brake late for Siberia, try and keep this gap, build it, going through T-junction and going down that straight, trying to break his draft before the big long straight and the sweeper. So I get a bit of a gap there. I think I push it out a tiny bit further here as he has a bit of a moment going out of T-junction. which allows me to break the draft. If you watch my videos, my previous round video, you'll know that he had about this much of a gap and he was still able to pull right up close to me. So the work that I did on turn 10 here and the chicane, and to a smaller extent the sweeper, keeping it flat and going a bit faster, really paid off. He caught up a little bit, still got a bit of work to go, but compared to last round, it's a million times better. I'm confident he's not going to trouble me anymore, so we'll turn around and concentrate on Ed. You can see Ed just off in the distance. This lap I'm really just trying to put in, trying to get it as good as I can, try and close this gap down and try and set it up for a move in the last lap, maybe 2. I think there's 3 laps to go at this stage and time's running out. I really need to hustle. So I was actually surprised at how quickly I was catching up to Ed, and it turned out after the race he was telling me that he had an issue with one of his sparks plugs. I think they were fouling and he didn't have quite all his power, which is why I was able to catch up so quickly, and also why I was able to, on this big straight after T-junction, just blow by him without any resistance. Poor Ed had a bit of a shocking round when it came to reliability. In the first race, he had an issue with his wheel. I think it was the first race where he had to retire. In another race, he had a spark plug not pushed down properly. And also in practice, he had another issue as well. So really, at least 2 of the races he retired from. And he possibly might have retired from this one. I'm not really sure. But in any case, I got by him and I was pretty happy. I was very lucky with Jeff having the spin, Ed having a bit of an issue to get the place that I did, but I'll take it. It's all points in the end. At this lap, just trying to get a PB, do it as fast as I could. I knew I didn't have to worry about the people behind me, so just concentrating on doing my lap as fast as I can. I ended up getting a 1:31.637, which up until this race, my best was a 1:32.5, so basically dropped a second off my PB. The leaders are doing 1:28, mid 1:28s, sometimes low 1:28s or high 1:27s depending on the draft. So still got about 3 seconds to drop off, but really hoping I'll be able to get there next round. I've got a secret weapon I'm going to use next round to try and drop a second. We'll talk about that in the videos for next round. Anyway, just finishing off now. If you look at my shift lights, you'll see I lacked a bit of testicular fortitude going around there. It's really hard to commit to keeping flat. Really just need to get used to it and do it every single time, but still working up to it. I'm glad that I'm doing it sometimes at least. Anyway, do the chicane quite well, and I know that this is going to be a PB lap. It felt really fast, and I'm mostly happy to get ahead of the other boys. So little fist pump, and yeah, that's the end of the race. Like and subscribe. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I've got a commitment from a sponsor to come on board. So if you're watching this video, especially if you've gotten to the end, subscribe for me, help me out. Alright, see you in the next race.